Reading the lights of the age, all wondered amongst themselves what I would do next. After all that I'd found in my travels around the world, was there anything left? Gentlemen, I said, I've studied the charts, and if what I'm thinking is right, there's another new world at the top of the world for the first one who breaks through the ice. And I looked around the room.
Welcome to Book Time with Ryan. I am Ryan, and today we're going to be talking about White as the Waves, a novel of Moby Dick. This is by Alison Baird. It was written in 1999, or was published in 1999. It is a retelling of Moby Dick from the point of view of the whale Moby Dick, who in this book is known as White as the Waves. Moby Dick is the name that humans gave him, but sperm whales know him as White as the Waves. His nickname is White Wave, and we see him from being born to death. We actually meet him when he's still in his mother's womb, sperm whale cow. He's born, and we see him grow up and eventually leave the pod. Now, I feel like Alison Baird really did her research, because from what I know of sperm whales, her information is really accurate, going into when the sperm whale calves are weaned from their mother's milk, when they start hunting squid, when they can start diving deeper, eventually male sperm whales when they leave the pod and they head off on their own, possibly joining bachelor pods further north or towards the poles, and eventually they come back and they reproduce when they're rather old, about 30 years old. So we follow White Wave as it happens. White Wave has a couple of friends that we are also regularly following. Nick and the Fin, but he goes by Nick Fin. And then Scanfar. These are names that the whales came up with, or they were named. White Wave heads off, does the bachelor thing, and eventually he returns to his pod. And he runs into a sperm whale cow, a female sperm whale that he is attracted to. He doesn't really know why he went back. It's really his instincts having him go back, and he reproduces with her. This is his cousin, and he actually scanned his aunt when she was pregnant with Moontail. They do it. White Wave goes off to explore the world again, and he comes back almost about a year later, and she's pregnant and she's close to giving birth. And where most sperm whales would never really return to cows that they reproduced with, he feels a special connection with her because they grew up together. Just there's something different about her and him, so he stays with her. He's had interaction with humans before. They were warned that humans are dangerous, but he believes, because he's heard from dolphins, he believes that humans are safe, that they're fun, that they don't hurt you. And he's actually run into humans before, and they were nice because they weren't whalers that he ran into. So while he's visiting his pod, some of the younger calves go up to a boat that they see. White Wave encourages it, thinking that these are, pleasant humans. These are nice humans. And the calves start to be slaughtered. The cows in the pod respond by going to protect the calves, and they are also slaughtered. And in all of this going on, Moontail is killed, and her nearly to term fetus dies. And White Wave can see this because he can use sonar to scan her and see what's going on. This really affects White Wave, and he kind of pledges that he's going to go around killing humans wherever he can, and he does. And he's smart. I mean, sperm whales have the largest brains of any animal, so he starts making plans on how to kill them. He can pretend like he's injured for whalers that will come up, and then he smashes their boats and crushes them. He bites them. Once he's been harpooned, he swims towards the ship and then dives right at the last second, driving the smaller whaling boats into the side of the ship, where they basically explode into a million pieces and the humans die. And he spends his time going around killing humans that are on whaling ships. his goal is to protect whales, any kind of whale, but especially sperm whales. So we see this develop. Hasn't totally lost it, but he has this drive. He makes friends with a bottlenose dolphin whose family has been killed, and her name is Feliki. One of the things I had read about this book is that Alison Baird makes the dolphins kind of speak almost like they would make Native Americans speak in old movies, where it's like, me like you, me help you, blah, blah. It gives you just a little bit of a division between the whales and the dolphins, because the whales speak one way and the dolphins speak the other way. But it's something that I had heard mentioned in another book, because I've heard about this book a number of times from other books that I've read. It's been mentioned, but this was really hard to find. I only found one on eBay, and since buying this book, I've never seen another one for sale. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong places. We see the reputation of White Wave grow. He becomes a legend. There's this legendary status. Other whales are talking, not just sperm whales, we're talking gray whales, blue whales, fin whales, humpbacks, right whales, belugas, narwhals. All these different whales are talking about this white whale who is protecting whales, and that this white whale is the giant beluga, or it's some gift from Mother Sea, and which is kind of like a religious Father Air and Mother Sea, and the source, which is the sun. It's kind of like this religion that all the sea creatures have. So his legend grows. His friends eventually find him. He tries to convince them to also fight back, but they think he's gone crazy. And you start having an intersect between White as the Waves, the book, and Moby Dick, because White Wave, we think, is probably in his 70s when he finally confronts Ahab in the Pequod, which is what happens in Moby Dick. We see that first confrontation in White as the Waves, which in Moby Dick was only a story that was recounted. So in this, it actually happens, because we start with White Wave when he's when he's a fetus, and when he becomes a calf, and as he grows up. So we've seen basically 7 years of him growing, and a few of the interactions he's had with other whaling ships, some of which are mentioned in Moby Dick, which, if you've read Moby Dick before you read this book, and I think you should, it's really exciting to read the parts of this book that you suddenly realize are scenes from Moby Dick, because there are stories in Moby Dick that are from earlier times that you hear about, and in this book you're seeing it in real time, because you're seeing it from White Wave's point of view. So he has a run-in with Ahab the first time. This is where Ahab loses his leg. And in White Wave's mind, he regrets taking Ahab's leg, because he worries that it wasn't a justified kill, but he should have killed him. And that since he maimed him and didn't finish off the job, Ahab is going to have to crawl around for the rest of his life and is going to suffer and starve. In this book, as humans are not aware of how intelligent whales are not aware of how intelligent humans are. So in the back of White Wave's mind, he's always regretted not killing Ahab, because he thought Ahab was probably in pain. Where on the other side of it, we see that Ahab becomes obsessed with Moby Dick and spends the rest of his life planning on how to hunt down the white whale, Moby Dick, White Wave, and kill him. That's not a direct parallel between the two, because one, White Wave regrets his actions and thinks about what he should have done differently, where Ahab regrets the results. He wants to finish it off. But the White Wave, gets very angry because more of his family is killed. His friend is killed. His mother is killed. And he finds out through that process that the person who killed members of his family or his friends, or innocent whales like right whales that were just in the waters around these boats, was Ahab. And the way they identify it is White Wave recognizes that the Pequod, the ship, had different kind of like trophies from the whales. It was ornamented with ivory from whales that had been killed. There was a sperm whale jaw on the back of the ship on the stern. So it's identifiable. What we see in the end is the final battle between White Wave and the Pequod and Ahab. It ends the way it does in Moby Dick, but there's a little bit more to it, right? Because we see the end of Moby Dick, we find out Ishmael, the narrator, lived. And this, White Wave knows that Ahab is dead and that the Pequod is sunk and will never kill another whale. What happens is he dies, and Feliki had come back to check on him. She accompanies Ishmael, drives away the sharks that are kind of circling the piece of wood that he's lying in, until he is rescued by a ship that was looking for the captain's 12-year-old son who had been killed by Moby Dick earlier. And you see that ship coming to ask Ahab for assistance and looking for their lost boat, the captain's son, which Ahab ignores. What White Wave tells Feliki before he dies is essentially, I had two dreams. He's had dreams where his kind are driven to extinction, which is well underway. He's had dreams where he sees the future with different kinds of weapons to kill whales, what we saw in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, 1960s, 1970s, and 1980s, and still see with Japanese whaling operations. And he sees that negative part, but he also sees a possible positive future where whales and dolphins unite with humans and communicate and become friends. He hopes that Feliki, when he dies, she'll go and play with human kids, human man calves, and let them know that there can be a relationship between these two groups of mammals. And that's what she does, because he has a dream, I think, of whale watching boats, but he has a dream of a boat full of people pulling up next to a whale, and instead of shooting it or throwing a harpoon at it, they're petting it and they're cheering for it and they're showing it love. So what I thought was interesting, and I asked Alison Baird on Twitter today, was if she had read Sounding, and I've done a review for Sounding, and check that out. Sounding was written in 1982 by Hank Searles, and in Sounding there is a prophecy where humans and whales, humans and the sea will come together and communicate, and whaling will end. And for me, it felt like this could have been the bridge between this 1850s story from Moby Dick and White as the Waves during that time. Feliki taking that story, that prophecy, and pushing it forward into the 1980s when it picks up in Sounding. I don't know if that was Alison's plan. I don't think it was. But I really liked that connection, that they were basically in the same universe. There are references to the white whale in Sounding, so they do occur in the same universe. As far as Sounding is concerned, White as the Waves obviously occurs before the time that Sounding takes place, although it was written after. I gave this book 5 stars. I think it makes sense to read Moby Dick before Moby Dick. It makes sense to read Moby Dick before, but this is such a fun read. From the point of view of the whale, the limited understanding the whales have of humans, seeing the development of whaling from the whales and dolphins' point of view, and really coming to grips with their possible extinction as they are aware of it too. Kind of the ups and downs through that process. Seeing how White Wave Moby Dick became the whale he was, and where his aggression came into confronting Ahab and other whalers. from reading Moby Dick, I felt like Herman Melville did not condemn whales. I felt like he actually, in many ways, condemned whaling, because he talks about how these people that go off to church to learn about, being kind to everything, then go off and butcher whales and use their oil to start a candle at a wedding in the church or something. It's just like he understood this destruction, even contemplated if whales would become extinct or would decline in numbers like the American buffalo. So I never felt like Moby Dick was a super pro whaler point of view. Maybe romanticized parts of whaling, but I think with a pretty clear eye to the pros and the cons. Pros being money, the cons being pretty much everything else as far as the whales are concerned and the livelihood of the men involved. From the point of view of White Wave, was just a great way to think about the limited point of view of whales and how something so unnatural as whaling could have appeared to them, and how vulnerable they felt, and the impact that years of whaling have had on whale and dolphin families. The amazing thing is, White as the Waves foreshadows what's coming in the 20th century, the height of whaling. I think oftentimes that the 1800s were where whaling really peaked, and it didn't. There were countries that backed off, including the United States, but the number of whales that were taken in the 1900s, 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, much higher than the 1800s. I mean, they had factory ships, they had explosive harpoons, they were taking whales orders of magnitude higher numbers from very fast ships that could hunt every kind of whale, and were much more efficient at not only hunting and killing them, but also processing them and continuing to hunt. There are references to the future in White Wave's dreams where he sees some of this. Things that Alison Baird, writing this in 1999, would have seen historically. She's allowing White Wave, Moby Dick, to see the future in his dreams of when this comes to pass, but also allowing him to see positive parts of the future of, conservation of whales, the Save the Whales movement, whale watches, and really the whole new approach, the scientific approach to protecting whales, their habitats, their cultures, that kind of stuff. So I feel like she does a good job with that. Again, 5 stars, loved it. I recommend you read it if you can find it. It was hard for me to find. Still, I've looked recently. I can't find it anywhere for sale, but I loved it. I think read Moby Dick and then read White as the Waves, and it will really, really pay off to read those 2 books near each other in that order. So thanks for being here today. I've done, I think, 4 straight Moby Dick related videos. The review of Moby Dick and the review of why read Moby Dick, the unboxing of Moby Dick, and White as the Waves are all great things, great books, and I think fun videos to watch if you're interested in Moby Dick. And let me just say that I love Moby Dick. Alison Baird, in her intro, talked about how she read this book. She read Moby Dick when she turned 12, and she read it by choice. I read this book, Moby Dick, and this book when I turned 38 by choice, and it has been very rewarding. So if you're not aware of Moby Dick, please read it. Don't listen to it. I tried to listen to it. I actually listened to it in the car, and I felt like it was so much better reading it because there are these witty references, these funny lines that it's hard to pick up when you're listening to it. And really, it's kind of hard. It skips right over it for you. Even the cadence of the reading is difficult because this book needs to be read slow and thoroughly for comprehension. And I loved it. So that was Moby Dick. White as the Waves, written. It's a more accessible read, I think. It's much newer, but they go together. So check them both out. But in this video, White as the Waves, loved it. 5 stars, and very much worth it. So thanks for being here today. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you later.
that brought me back here to the old world to drink and decline and pretend that the search for another new world was well worth the burning of mine. But sometimes at night in my dreams comes the singing of some unknown tropical bird, and I smile in my sleep thinking Annabelle's finally made it to another new world. Yeah, sometimes at night my dreams comes a singing of some unknown tropical bird, and I smile in my sleep thinking Annabelle's finally made it to another new world.